This is Cole Noon and Christian Mills, and this is our immune system analogy. The immune system protects the body using multiple lines of defense that protects against harmful bacteria, much like how a bank contains several different lines of defense to protect it in the case of a bank heist. And that's our analogy.
Like at the end.
The first line of defense contains the skin and mucous membranes. It is an innate defense system, meaning it defends against all foreign substances. This is represented by the bank building's exterior walls.
The body's first line of defense is the skin or epidermis. The skin forms a barrier that prevents the entry of foreign substances into the body. This is much like how the door of the bank will keep out any would-be robbers. Bacteria can bypass the skin if there's an open wound or injury, much like how robbers can enter the bank if they break the lock on the door.
The mucous membranes protect the openings to the body by secreting mucus that traps bacteria trying to enter. This is represented by the metal detectors that will keep out anyone trying to get through in the main entrance to the bank, who might have any sort of dangerous paraphernalia.
The second line of defense is also an innate defense. It will defend the body against any substances trying to enter. However, unlike the first line of defense, it is not a mechanical barrier, but consists of various methods of dealing with invaders, including natural killer cells, phagocytes, the inflammatory response, fever, antimicrobial proteins, and neutrophils. This is represented by the bank lobby, which can employ a number of defenses to stop any would-be robbers.
Natural killer cells directly attack virus-infected or cancerous body cells. They do not rely on specific antigen recognition like parts of the third line of defense. They are represented by the door guard, who is present in the lobby and will defend against anyone trying to attack.
Phagocytes are macrophages that engulf and destroy bacteria and pathogens that breach the surface membrane barriers. They are represented by the backup security guards in the building that will come to the defense of the bank if there is a robbery.
The inflammatory response prevents the spread of injurious agents to adjacent tissues, disposes of dead tissue cells, and promotes tissue repair. During the inflammatory response, blood vessels dilate, creating heat and redness. Lymph builds up, causing swelling, and pain receptors activate, causing pain. This is comparable to the bank alarm, which calls the police and alerts everyone in the bank to what is happening.
When trying to rob a bank, robbers will be slowed or stopped completely by the bank vault, which is analogous to how fevers slow down the multiplication of bacteria by raising the body temperature.
Antimicrobial proteins will work to help the body's efforts to fight any foreign invaders by either complementing the body's attack or interfering with the virus's ability to multiply. This is like how a communications jammer will interfere with the robber's ability to communicate and help the police coordinate their response.
Neutrophils are a type of phagocyte found in the blood vessels that are mobilized during the inflammatory response. This is similar to how the canine units are mobilized by the police during a robbery.
The third line of defense is the specific responses that the white blood cells come out with to target specific pathogens. In our analogy, it is the people who come to aid the bank during the heist, such as the police.
The humoral response is when immunocompetent B lymphocytes initiate clonal selection. These clones produce antibodies quickly. The police siege is where all of the various officers go to gather up their numbers and initiate a plan of attack, much like clonal selection.
B cells are the overseers of humoral immunity, watching over the rest of the cells and making antibodies. The person watching over the bank is behind security monitors and will call the police, much like the B cells will make antibodies.
Plasma cells create an enormous amount of antibodies that target specific viruses and infected cells, much like how the police sniper is given specific targets to take care of.
Antibodies are the specific responses to each specific problem in the immune system. The local police force is to target each threat specifically, and when the bank heists happen, they adapt to their roles immediately.
Memory cells store how the immune system was able to beat the virus, making it much easier for the body to fight it if ever encountered again. The security cameras in the bank make it easy for people to review footage and discover what changes need to be put in place to prevent another robbery.
The cell-mediated response is the call that goes out to the macrophages and phagocytes in order to deal with the problem at hand. In our analogy, calling the police is the progenitor to all the different types of police that arrive at the scene.
The T cells of the body have to be able to adapt to any situation they find themselves in, and have to help whoever comes to them. Much like how the bank employees have to adapt to new job circumstances.
Antigen-presenting cells, or APC, engulf antigens to present fragments of them to the T cells, which then figure out how to deal with the issues. Just like the phones in the bank that are used to contact the police to solve the problem.
Helper T cells are the cells that excite other immune cells into taking action against the infection, much like a person in the bank who presses the panic button that calls the police.
Cytotoxic T cells are cells that specialize in killing the infected cells with extreme efficiency by using toxic chemicals called perforins. This brutal efficiency and effectiveness is reminiscent of a specialized police SWAT team who will be doing the vast majority of dispatching.
Regulatory T cells are there to prevent other virus-fighting cells from going too far and causing too much damage. In our analogy, this part is played by the hostage negotiator, who prevents the more abrasive forces from causing too much human damage.
Thank you for watching Cole and Christian's wonderful analogy of the bank heist using the immune system. It's been wonderful.